Okay, can you hear that? Good morning, Unity. Good morning. So great to be with you all. We're going to be here with you for 3 weeks in a row. Very exciting. Okay, let's groove. I'm grooving, I'm moving, I'm grooving, I'm moving, I'm grooving in God, I'm moving in God, breathing in God and exhaling God. I'm grooving in God, I'm moving in God, I'm breathing in God and exhaling God. Oh yeah. I'm living, I'm loving, I'm living, I'm loving, I'm living in God, I'm loving in God, I'm being myself and seeing myself. I'm living in God, I'm loving in God, I'm being myself and seeing I'm singing, I'm laughing, I'm singing, I'm laughing. Oh, I'm singing in God, I'm laughing in God, I'm jamming with God, I'm blissed out in God. I'm singing in God, I'm laughing in God, I'm jamming with God, I'm blissed out in God. Yeah, let's try this again. It's a little tricky, but it's super fun. I'm grooving, I'm moving, I'm grooving, yeah, I'm moving. I'm grooving in God, I'm moving in God, I'm breathing in God and exhaling God. I'm grooving in God, I'm moving in God, I'm breathing in God and exhaling God. I'm breathing in God and exhaling God. Breathing in God and exhaling God. Breathing in God and exhaling God. Woo!
Thank you, thank you. We welcome you this morning to Unity Spiritual Center of Portland. And thank you to all of those who remember to move your clocks forward. It may make for a little bit of a sleepy morning, but we're thrilled you're here. We want to welcome you. I'm Reverend Lisa Davis, part of the movement that Unity believes we are in the idea of creating community, of living love, of teaching truth, of serving spirit, and practicing peace. That is just this movement that is holding the idea that we are larger than we know. We are an evolutionary essence that is here to move forward. You know, the great philosopher Socrates said to himself, "To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom." It's often quoted, just know thyself. But he said, to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. And so today we're here to look at that idea. In just a moment, we're going to do an opening prayer. And it's the idea of remembering who we are. And I believe we're here to celebrate it. If you haven't been celebrating yet this morning, I just invite you to celebrate. If you haven't celebrated what's happening on your evolutionary journey, I invite you to celebrate. We're infinite. This experience is a journey of evolution, of movement, of lifting, and we're all a part of it. So we're going to begin this service, and if you by any chance have shut out your heart, you've said, I don't belong, I'm not enough, maybe this world, I just can't do it right now. I just invite you to open your heart, to remember that the truth of every one of us is that we are infinite creations of spirit, and we are here to heal, to grow, and to love. Let's begin this service in prayer. And with that deep breath, we say, Infinite Spirit, we open to the presence and the power that is within us, that is around us, everywhere present, one power, divine love that flows in and through and has each of us this day. Regardless of what is happening around us, within our bodies, or in our existence, we know that we are loved. We are a creation of the very vibration of the universe, that energy of love. And we are lifted this moment as we breathe in that sacred yes. Yes to the evolutionary journey. Yes to life. Yes to understanding that we are one. For this opportunity to gather in this knowing. We are so blessed, and to know that every being around the world is a part of this sacred journey. We surround them with the light and the love and the presence. Those that are hurting, those that don't have food or water, where there's war or there's separation or there's injury, we hold a space of surrounding every being in light, knowing that as we take this sacred journey, we are called to know ourselves as love and to hold every being in love. We hold a space that we know there is enough for all of us. And for this opportunity to gather and celebrate this day in this breath, we say thank you, Infinite Spirit. And so it is. Amen.
Good morning. Boy, talk about celebrating. How was that funky bass beat? That was pretty doggone good, man. Pretty good, just saying.
We are lucky.
Yeah, so I also have to acknowledge the great time we had last Sunday. Those of you who stayed for the fundraiser and for the Larry Wilder concert, I know that there's a few of our Helping Hands volunteers back here, but let's give them a round of applause. It was a great day. Thank you all so much for supporting them. They did very well, and I know they'll be excited to share all that with you. So, first off, like we do each week, we're going to honor our prayer chaplains who are here to pray with you this morning following the service. Lynn and Sherry are here this morning. And as I say each week, if you're not ready to pray in person, we have prayer requests in the backs of all the chairs and in the lobby. You can drop those in our prayer box. They will hold those for you for 30 days before sending them on to Silent Unity. And you know, they do so much here. They record that daily dial-a-prayer for you. If you need a little lift during the week, you can always call that number. They hold a guided meditation each Sunday morning at 10:30, and our own Annette Boswell has the 12 Powers Adult Sunday School that happens right before that, at 9:45. So come and join them for that. The teen annual book sale continues today. It's been going on for a few weeks. It's got a couple weeks left. I saw several bags of books come in last Sunday, so I know there are new titles downstairs. If you're one of those book hunters, feel free to peruse. And also know you can come in during the week when we're here. If you want a little more time to kind of plow through those, we're here Monday through Thursday, so you can do that as well. A little reminder, today at 12:30, we're having a safety training meeting for leaders, staff, and Sunday school volunteers. So if you're serving in one of those positions, we're going to meet in the chapel for about an hour at 12:30. Next Saturday, the men's group meets here in person, 9 a.m. There is an email list for that group, and if any of you guys are not on it and you want to be, you can see Bill Thorbeck. Bill, stand up so they know who you are. That is the leader of the men's group right there. Thank you, Bill. And also next Saturday is our Helping Parents Heal support group led by Annie and Mark Adams. This is for parents, grandparents, or siblings who've lost a child. They meet on this second Saturday, 10:30 a.m. in the chapel. Third Sunday. Oh, my Sundays. Third Sunday. Hey, it's 3 weeks till Easter, okay? Third Saturday. Sorry. Yeah, as I said, 3 weeks till Easter. And yeah, we're in the flow of that, just so you know. It came pretty quick, but we're on it. So, it is time to start talking about spirit groups, though. Spirit groups are going to happen beginning the end of April. Yes, we are back to our spring program with the spirit groups. We're excited about that. They begin April 28th. It'll be for 7 weeks. The book we are using is called Emergence, and Alice has a few copies of it in the bookstore. She'll be getting more and more in the coming weeks. But right now they're looking for leaders to hold some of these book studies. So you can do it in person, you can do it on Zoom. It's pretty straightforward and easy. You will get training. You can do it. So if you got some time and you want to do it, come and talk to us. See Annette Boswell following the service. We'd love to have you part of the team. Next Sunday, March 17th, is our annual meeting. So that is open to everyone, but I do want to note that only members can vote on the slate for the Board of Trustees. There are copies of that slate on the lobby table if you're interested to pick that up today. So plan to stay. We're going to meet downstairs following coffee and connection, and I know it's going to be a really nice day, so we're going to make it quick, right? And we'll be out of there pretty soon. So make sure you join us next Sunday. And so first thing to happen in getting ready for Easter is spring flowers. Each year, we fill the sanctuary on Easter with beautiful potted spring flowers. You can purchase one in honor or in loving memory of a loved one. We will put that name in the newsletter, and it'll be on a slide. Your flowers will be here to take home following the service. Or if you don't have a place to plant them, you can donate them to the garden team, and they will plant them here on the grounds. So there are flyers that are on the table today where you can sign up, or you can do so in the newsletter. Just go in there, and it'll take you to the sign up page and show you where to pay and all of that. So make sure you check that out today. And in the newsletter is all the information on our Good Friday forgiveness ceremony, which obviously happens on Good Friday, and then our Easter service information with our Easter egg hunt and the Easter bunny and all that good stuff. And if you're not getting our newsletter, maybe you've just come back, or maybe you've been coming for a while, but there are these neon cards in the backs of the chairs. You can fill that out with your email address. We'll get you on the newsletter mailing list. And if you're new today, or if this is your first time or maybe second time, maybe you picked up a guest packet when you came in. If you did not, and this is your first time and you haven't received one yet, raise your hand and our ushers will give you one. Again, that neon card is on the back. We'd love for you to fill that out. We want you to know what's coming up. We have a lot of good things happening here. There's a rose sticker on the front. We'd love for you to peel that off and stick it to your name tag so we know who you are. Can give you a nice warm welcome. And as always, we invite you downstairs for coffee and connection, which is just a wonderful time of getting to know each other and socializing after the service on Sunday. So you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Beth. Okay. And by the way, our annual meeting, we do an approval only process for our board members. Getting board members and having them say yes and be ready. We do not do an actual election. I'm saying it now, that's why the names are out there. We have a nominating committee that goes through extensive work to get people that have the qualifications that match the positions we're working with. And I would just invite you to be a part of that because it's an important thing for our community. What we also do during that annual meeting is we gather and say, how are we, who are we, and where is it we'd like to go? And I think that's one of the most important pieces that we can have. And you can also look at would I like to be a part of the Board of Trustees in the future. This is some of the things that we can do. So we're happy to have all of you here. If it's your first time or you haven't been here in a while, please know we're thrilled to have you within this community. I believe right now is one of the most important times for us to connect. And wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you're welcome here. We are learning, we're growing, we're expanding. And if this community works for you, I would encourage you to become a part. It is really important right now to find a place where we can connect, to actually redevelop the skill of making friends and of being connected with other beings. And if it doesn't work for you, I would encourage you to continue seeking. Find a place that says, yes, I know who I am, and people that appreciate you. So we're happy to have you here. We are going to stand and sing.
We are. So here's our new congregational, You Belong.
You belong, you're in my heart. You belong, you're in my life. You belong, you're
job.
Thank you, thank you. All right, and I just invite you to turn to those around you with a welcome, with a namaste. You belong. Good to have you here. I don't know where else you can go and say hello. It's so good to see you over and over and over again and look in eyes. And some of you may say, I know it's awful, isn't it? And others say, yes, it's wonderful. But for me, it's just such a joy to see people just saying, hello, hello, hello. How are you? What's your world? What's happening? And you know, in just a moment, we're going to shift to that time of meditation. And we both get to greet each other and recognize we all belong to this journey we're on and what's happening and where we are. And the way that we anchor belonging is in meditation, is in getting to know ourselves through that silence of just being who we are and where we are and as we are. And so I just invite you in just a moment, as you hear this music, to just quiet your body, your mind, turn within, and just know that you know that you know that we are one.
I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love, surrendering in love, surrendering in love, surrendering in love.
So, sitting in the wonder, sitting in the delight of this beautiful spring day, dropping down into that place where each of us belong. We belong to something greater. We belong to something more. We belong to that infinite presence and power of love. It is who we are. It is the presence that is within us, that is strong, that is beautiful, that is growing, that is glowing. That beautiful place where we know that we are all one. So sitting quietly in this oneness, opening the heart, and just knowing that each one of us belong. Just knowing, just opening, just feeling the music, the love, the joy that we have created by just being here, by just showing up in the love that we are, listening to this beautiful music and allowing the mind to still and be and know that we belong. We are one, and it is so.
I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love, surrendering in love, surrendering in love, surrendering in love. I know that this love is mine. When I look inside, I know what I feel is real. I know that this love is mine. I let the struggle and the hurt fall gently to the side. I know that this peace is mine. When I look inside, I know what I feel is real. I know that this peace is mine. I let the worry and the fear fall gently to the side. I know that this faith is mine. When I look inside, I know what I feel is real. I know that this faith is mine. I let the struggle and the hurt, the worry and the fear, the doubting of the past fall gently to the side.
Thanks.
Thank you to our wonderful music team, Susan and Mark and TJ and Sean. Thank you for that. To all of our, wow, so often we can hear it in the music, in the ideas. I know that this life is mine right now. Right where we are, this life is ours. And of course, every day that means we wake up with this clean slate of, so honey, what'd you like to do with it today? And we often think, no, life's coming at me, and it's coming over here, and it's coming over here, and did you hear what happened in the news, and what about this talk, and what about this, and look what happened across the ocean, and some of the things that we would like to change. And we'd like to find a path of peace, both within ourselves, I believe, and around ourselves, and we would like things to be different. And what's fascinating is as you look at the journey of humanity, and I go back again and again and again to spiral dynamics and the ability to see this rise in consciousness over the time of humanity, starting 100,000 years ago, 100 and I don't know what it is now, 10, 12,000 years ago, that literally this shift and this forming of consciousness and the ability to form in bands and then to get together and to fight off others, and then gradually to form into larger groups, and all of it was about the rise of consciousness and the ability of individuals to go from dictatorships, which would be kings or whatever was there, to say, no, I have the ability to do this. And the consciousness begins to say, I can do this. I have the ability. I can know this. I can do this. And we keep learning and growing. And you might think, well, we've gone all to pieces, because some of it's on our shores, a lot more of it's on our shores than the last few decades here in the country. But every country came as part of this evolutionary movement. You know, they just found, or not just found, but I just learned more about some of the amazing works that have come out of Africa. From libraries that were destroyed, some of them not destroyed, and the wisdom that's there and the things that were there, and yet we were taught a very different story, weren't we? And we still are today. So some of what we're doing as humanity right now, with all the information available, is beginning to pull out what's true and what's not true, and to figure out our actual history and where we go. But all of it, the continuation of that evolution in consciousness, is happening. It has not stopped. We're at a place right now for us where I believe we get to really say, this life is mine. I am a part of that evolution, that evolutionary journey. My path is connected to every other path. If for some reason you were raised with the idea that you are separate, that's one of the big pieces we're working with. Right now we're in the middle. We're actually in the 4th week of a 5-week, it's called a spring renewal. Sometimes you get into February and March and people are like, oh God, it's still raining. which of course it's supposed to be. But we somehow don't want it to be, which I know in August and September and October, we will really wish it rained a lot. But right now it's like, oh, and so this spring renewal is the idea of who are we? Where are we going? What are we doing? So You Belong is both a theme that we have for this year, the realization that separation is not the truth of who we are, that victim consciousness that life is happening to me is not belonging. Belonging is knowing life doesn't happen to me. I am life. I'm the essence of the life at this point, in this place, and you're the essence of life at your point, at your place, and we are all part of the divine life of the universe, the very energy flow that's present and it's available and it's moving through us. It's moving as us. And so that means we're a part of this evolution in consciousness. We're the part during this lifetime that will choose to evolve or stay where we are. And often we look at what's out there and say, they're wrong, they're not evolving, I am. And of course, life, I find so often when I do that, it says, oh yeah, honey? Well, let's see how you handle this or this. And there's this cosmic 2x4 that says, whoa. And it happens individually, it happens collectively, and it happens globally. And so when we're in the middle of it, we get to say, what do we do? So in this 5 weeks, we start out with simply, you belong. Just knowing I belong to it all. I belong when I don't feel like I belong. I still belong. I belong to life. I belong to humanity. I belong to this journey. And somebody else may have trained me saying, you don't belong because you don't look like this, or you don't act like this, or you're not this, or you're not that. All of that is a lie that we grew up with. And part of the evolution of consciousness is getting rid of the things that are not true. So we get to go back inside and we get to look, and we get to say, wait a minute, why did I ever believe I was anything less than whole? Why did I ever believe I was anything less than an evolutionary movement of spirit right here? And I keep going back to when Rumi said, you are the universe becoming aware of itself. The word heaven, the root word means expansion. And it's not a place, it's a consciousness. And so the universe becoming aware of itself, that means the old layers, in Hinduism they call them the veils, are falling down. And we are becoming aware of who we are. So we started with you belong. The second week we did the delusion of separation. And it is there. And I believe right now that is the number one thing that humanity is working to evolve. That we're not separate. This is old physics, and the new physics takes its place, where it says actually everything is connected and it's all a quantum field and we're all from that and we're all parts of stars. Somebody said you're leftover butterfly wings. And I was like, what? And they said we're made up of the leftover parts of the universe, the recycled butterfly wings. That's and stars. We're recycled stars and butterfly wings. And when I got down this week, I was like, that sounds like a pretty good thing to remember. But the delusion, and so if I'm saying I'm separate and this happened to me, then I get to, first of all, you got to know that's not true. There isn't something happening to me. Instead, life happens through me and by me, which means I get to start saying, it starts with by me, which means I'm more than this. I have the ability to rise above this. I don't care what it is or what's happening. I may need this help. I may need this support. This isn't a single-handed thing anymore. Ever notice that? We're learning that we have to connect to each other. There is a need for connection so strong. It's not just us. That is the evolutionary impulse of the universe saying, reach out and touch each other, reach out and touch each other, reach out and connect. And it's larger and larger connections because we're now a global community. And so it may hurt more to be aware of what's happening. We may feel like, oh my gosh, 5 decades ago, people didn't know what was happening there until weeks later when Walter Cronkite said it on the news on Friday nights or whatever. It wasn't something that people lived and were able to see pictures and what's happening. It's shifted. But that actually is the inner urge. It's there to connect and to know we're one, and eventually to get to a place where we can say, I'm not doing that. Those actions no longer serve me. Now, I'd like the wars to stop. Gandhi said, I would like that. I would like people to have food and water. Gandhi said, the source of all violence is the non-physical violence that happens in our minds. So this is the place where we stop competing, comparing. I was so grateful somebody came to me last week after the service and said, Mike Matoyne, a Unity minister 40 decades ago, said, the root of all unhappiness is comparison. That's what it is. Because what I didn't realize is that is a mindset that says I'm separate. And so we've learned that. So the delusion of separate, we had you belong, the delusion of separation. I'm going back to where I was originally. I will actually get on track. The third thing that we did last week was ground yourself. Belonging has to do with, and ground yourself not in comparison and in competition, but in compassion, in connection, in an awareness that we are a part of it all no matter what, but ground yourself in your body. Most of us were taught to hate our bodies or not to appreciate our bodies or accept them. We were told it has to look like this, it has to act like this, it has to show up like this. So part of shifting consciousness, you might think, I'd like to stop wars. Could I please stop hunger? Could I please do these? And those are all wonderful things that I believe all of us can take a stand and work towards and hold. But also, we gotta stick with right where we are. This is my life. I want the old stuff to fall away, and I believe you do too. And the courage to say, I'm right here, and I'm not going anyplace. Because sometimes we go way far away in our minds, in our actions, in our belief. We go back to old stories. Anybody ever go back to old stories of life? It's just, I can't get through this. I can't do this. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not enough. That's the non-physical violence in our minds, right there. And so when we remember, I have the ability to affect my life. I have the ability to choose words and to at least be aware of what it is. So we did, you belong, the delusion of separation, ground yourself in your body. She called it embodied mindfulness. It means I'm not just mindful. And a lot of times, sometimes I drive home. I don't exactly know the road I took or what was on it, nor do I know the body that was in the car driving that car. It's a mind looking out, thinking of everything that's going to happen, everything I need to do, everything that did happen. We're living in that. And yet it's embodying our being. It'll be loving our being, ourselves, and not comparing ourselves to the world and to who we are or competing, but being present, knowing we're enough just right where we are, and then beginning to embody the truth of who we are. And today, we're looking at the idea of know yourself. So ground yourself is part of this path of belonging. Know yourself. And I've been wrestling with this idea, which, by the way, I take these books and if we decide we're doing a book and I couldn't find You Belong, I studied 14 different books, 16 different books. None of them said what Sebene Selassie said, partly because she didn't belong in any category of her life. As a gay woman, black, immigrant from Eritrea, excuse me, I've said it several times and have not, I don't think, done it once. It was she, and growing up as a black woman in a white neighborhood, in a family that she said there wasn't any place that I even knew I belonged, and I learned how to act according to my situations. Anybody else done that? You be a good girl, you be a good boy, you act like this, you act like that, you don't talk. So we're unlearning that. And so her belonging and her experience was going into huge pictures and little pictures. And these ideas will be, at the end of April, we will be starting our the Spirit Groups program that we will be looking at how do we become one with the truth that we are. But first, we've got to know what that is in our bodies. It gets to be embodied. And so know yourself. that's an age-old idea. I know every one of us has grown up hearing that. Socrates said, know thyself. Now he said, to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. It's the beginning of the journey. It's the beginning of where we start. And so who are we? How do we go? The key to belonging is within you. And knowing ourselves is part of that unwrapping of who we are and where we go. Elia Cooks says, what does it mean to know yourself? It means learning your likes and dislikes, unearthing your beliefs and your values, knowing your personal boundaries, accepting your personality traits. My, what would happen if we just said, wow, that's an interesting one, honey. Okay, let's look at that, but not pushing it away, because what we do is we push away the parts of ourselves. We push away the things that we don't believe are worthy, and what we end up doing, by the way, there's nothing you can push away. You push it down. You push it down into a shadow, you push it down into an unconscious mind, and guess how evolution works? It brings up all the stuff we ever pushed away and says, here, let me show you. And that idea is generational. We have our stuff and we have generations of stuff. And so we get to then hold it and say, okay, this is more. You know, Jason Gregory said one of the unconscious habits and beliefs in the world is this idea that we don't belong. And the ability to belong in ourselves is what will take us into belonging. That idea that we belong in our body, we belong in our world, we belong where we are. So when we go into knowing ourselves and to truly do that, we'll find there's an inner call for belonging. There's an inner call to be a part of something larger. There's an inner call to connect. And, you know, what are you? Who are you? What are you? That's the question we get to start asking ourselves and love the answers. Because the only way we change is by stopping what Gandhi said was that non-physical violence, by stopping it in our head. So instead of pushing it down or away, we call back in all of the pushed away, left out parts of ourselves. And we recognize, oh my, I am a big heap of infinite creation of spirit in this individualized expression. And I have the ability to expand from there. Who I am. And all that I am, it's getting to laugh at and love the quirky parts of ourselves. You know, Susan just did the song during the congregational song, or I guess it was the opening song, and you had to clap. I don't know if you all know it or not. I have no idea what note anything is sung at, or I can't hear it. I have no idea the rhythm. The only way I can actually clap is to watch people down there, because then I can mimic them. But having two claps and then one clap, it was just way too much. In fact, Annette, I watched you and Steve, and I said, oh, good, I'm not the only one. And I thought, oh, great. That's comparison. That's what we do. And so the first step of that is really to hug yourself every time you recognize a trait. And so I thought, well, I don't know rhythm. Isn't that a wonderful way to go through life? That's what I've decided. If we can't, and I just thought it's not important, but how many times have I said, I can't sing, I can't do this, I can't do that? And it was just another part of me that wasn't in the circle. It wasn't in that idea. Jesus said that you are the light of the world. The kingdom of the heavens is within you, is what he actually said. The kingdom of the heavens is within you. That idea of knowing that. Now, again, I see Jesus as a way shower. That's all I've ever known him as. I never grew up, and I'm so grateful, with an idea that this being was there as a savior. Instead, he taught a way. And his idea, by telling other people, looking at them and saying, the kingdom of the heavens is within you, was to take it off of a savior and that idea, because he was born into messianic times. They were waiting for a savior to save them. And he instead chose a different path. He said, it's all of us. He had to find it in himself, and you can see that in the journey that's there. And we look at the spiritual meaning of an idea, and you can see it in Buddha's evolutionary journey, you can see it in Lao Tzu's, but with Jesus, the kingdom of the heavens, that largeness of what we see is within us. How do we pull it out? You know, this is International Women's Month. One of the people I've looked at for years, and I know many of you have, is Sojourner Truth. Now, at 9, she was sold into slavery. The abuse that happened in her life, the rape, the things that she went through as a child are unthinkable, and it's just so hard to even take in. She was called Isabella during that time. That was the name she was given. And when slavery ended and the Confederate lost the war, her owner said, "No, I'm not letting you go." And she stayed one day, and then that middle of the night, she left, got out, and said, "Who I am is," and she named herself Sojourner Truth. And she said, "Truth is what I have to know on this sojourn of life." And so she chose for herself a freedom that the world had never shown her in any way. She chose for herself the ability to know something more. And then she went around and she taught the highest truth she knew. And that's how she spent her life. And the ability to say, the stories we have, I don't know about you, but most of our stories don't center around a huge amount of the truth of who we are. They usually center around the way either something's happening to us, or we're not enough. What would happen if we decided this sojourn of life, we're going to find a truth that's within us, that's strong enough to walk through everything anyone may have told us, because we start doing that and life shifts. One of the ways to get to know ourselves is to say, where are your people from? Many of us who chose the label white, or whose parents or grandparents or whenever chose the label white, actually lost our history. That was one of the things I learned in our class, dismantling the systems of racism. I didn't know how many of us lost the people we came from. And of course, those who experienced slavery and all of the other horrors that came with it lost much of that also. And so part of going back and saying, where did I come from? Where, who was I? How were the DNA and our genetics are passed down from 7 generations. So we do have our families there. Czesław Milosz said, "My past changes every minute according to the meaning given it now in this moment." We also have the ability to transform our past. But first we got to start with who am I? Because I'm not just this person who was planted on this place at this time. Instead, our ancestors are here. They're a part of our journey. And when we look at that, we can realize that every time one of our ancestors overcame something, they shifted and moved. Our DNA that we inherited shifted and moved. Experiences of violence and brutality will lead to fear and mistrust within individuals, families, and whole communities. These responses should be expected, and here's the twist: they are helpful. In most cultures, the idea of overcoming and rising above was greatly honored. What we don't realize is every time a family member overcame something, or those around your family member overcame something, they actually learned and grew in consciousness and created neural pathways that became part of their biochemistry and who they were, and it moved on. So you might say, I came from a crazy family. And most of us can identify, oh my God, you won't believe the horrors I came from. But many people overcame those horrors for you to be here. They overcame some of the pieces. And Sebene Selassie said, indigenous psychotherapy insists that trauma is actually an outcome of survival and resilience. all the trauma that happened, it creates in beings survival and resilience. We can hear the wisdom of our ancestors in our patterns. Within them, there is medicine. Through practice, all of us can begin connecting to the messages imprinted in our very bodies that help guide us to the well-being that is always present. We belong to our ancestors, and in fact, they are right here with us, helping us belong. Could we shift to that? Could we shift to that place and then begin looking at our lives? What are my triggers? Who knows where they came from? Sometimes I can identify, but I'm only identifying in my body and my life. But I wonder what happened out there. We're part of that survival and the resilience and the building on and the growing of, they say, 7 generations past. And the idea in the Native American culture and most indigenous cultures is that we look out for the 7 generations in the future. And so who I am and where I belong, I'm a part of this movement. 7 generations in the past, 7 generations in the future. And I'm simply a part that I believe is called to love, is called to know ourselves, to begin to accept ourselves, and to say, oh my goodness, I am more than this. You know, part of this knowing ourselves begins with understanding the triggers, understanding the patterns that we've had up until now, and then beginning to let them go. That means releasing fear, releasing worry. Most of that, it's imaginary anyway. Do you realize what we do with ourselves on a daily basis of what might happen in the future or what happened in the past? Belonging is a present moment experience that says, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. I'm going to stay here, know I belong, know I'm a part of humanity. I don't know where we're going in this country, but I know this, everything that happens, we're a part of. We are adding our consciousness. I know that consciousness shifts as percentages of people who have a larger story and a larger understanding and a larger space to hold expands. And to me, that means I got to accept myself and love myself right where I am. That's my assignment. And then it goes to the beautiful people around me. I got to do the same thing. So how do we breathe a little bit? Letting go of the triggers and the patterns. These are things that are in our body. And it starts with breathing. Beginning to breathe. Saying, honey, I love you anyway. That was my response over and over and over again. Honey, I love you. Honey, what an interesting thing. I love you anyway. Those are some of the words that my goal is that they become instant responses. We got to see the stuff that comes up from shadows. When we get really upset, I don't want to push it away. I want to make that unconscious conscious. We have it. Those shadows come as a collection of the last 7 generations, and you don't get all their stuff. You also get all of their survival and their resilience and the way, I'll tell you what, look at a day in the life of people 100 years ago and say, wow, what do I do with that? We get, we in Unity, one of the things I have really, I've been able to found my understanding of who I am on is Unity was founded, the first origination of Unity came with Myrtle Fillmore. Now, a woman who had no right to vote, who had been sick from childhood, had been told, you're too sick, you can't play, you can't be with others, finally married, and they said, basically, you're too sick to get married. She married somebody who had all kinds of other health problems. They had 3 kids. She was given 6 months to live. At that point, I thought, what would life look like? And you're in the middle of Kansas City, Missouri, living a really rough life. How do you begin? She went to everything she could. She said somehow her being knew, I'm more than this. Even though every doctor, her church, and everything in it, which she had already left her church, which meant she'd left her family and a lot of other things. Her family was not there. They were in Ohio. But she said, I'm more than this. She was one of the first females that was allowed into Oberlin College, even though it was only a short writing course. That was all they'd let the women into. And she was one of the first ones who said, I can do this. What I have, even if I'm dying, it's more than this. And then she went into her body. She apologized to every organ, every tissue in her body. I'm so sorry. I thought you were ill and sickly. That's not the truth of your nature. Your nature is God. And she had a very clear view of God, as literally Charles Fillmore later, and he learned this from her. He did not believe most of this. He didn't want anything to do with Jesus or religion or anything else when he started. But what he wanted was for his wife to get better. I don't think he wanted to keep 3 kids, and they were not that old. And he supported her completely. And as she went into prayer and began to find a different part of who she was, she became a vegetarian. She did all these different things for her health, and she was healed and lived several decades further. But her mind at some point had to get out of all she'd been told and said, I know myself, and I am more than this. And if she had made her transition and moved on at that point, I believe she would have healed what she needed to heal, and there would have been an order that's larger than I know. We might not have been sitting here, but that life has an ability to move us forward if we will have the courage to say, this is who I am. And there's something more here now. There's something more here now. In a little bit, our kids will come up. And there are 12 of them. I can't exactly tell you how many they were. They were so sleepy they could barely keep their eyes open downstairs. They spent the weekend here. They are the counselors for Kids Camp. Now, Unity in this region, the only region that has had it for this long, I believe it's 47 or 49 years, the high schoolers have been trained to lead a camp to tell the 7 to 11-year-olds that they are whole, infinite, and complete, and they can do anything they need to do. They can do anything they need to do. And that camp, and by the way, this year is the first year that every counselor attended that camp as a kid. So they were told by teenagers that this was happening. And they're down there, they can barely keep their eyes open. But they know something about themselves. And not only do they know it, they've been told by others and they've lived it. So part of being in community is beginning to look in the eyes of the people around us and say, I know who you are. And you are a creation of the infinite, of the Most High, and you're going to get through this. And then taking it back inside and saying, I know who I am. Because I'm a creation of the infinite, and I'm going to get through it. And so I just invite you to breathe it in, to know it, and to realize the expression of that every time we fail. It's just, oh, I learned a little more. Oh, my eyes are open. Oh, honey, I love you. Let's get up and figure out what the next step is. Your life is sacred. Every moment in it is. It doesn't matter what's happened up until now. You have all that you need in this moment to do all that is to be done by you today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We are going to receive our tithes and our love offerings. For those of you who are new, first of all, we welcome you. Unity operates on a love offering basis. It is a fascinating journey. We also work to rent this space and to bring in income with the space that we have. We want it to be used and to have people in it and knowing who they are and recognizing that and learning that. And we receive our tithes and our love offerings with an intention to be able to have all of us invest in these ideas and in having them become a part of who we are and to be able to share them. I'm so grateful to realize we're coming up next year on our 100th anniversary of these ideas being shared from Unity of Portland in this space. Several communities have been started from Unity Spiritual Center of Portland, and honestly, most of the kids that go to Kids Camp will be sourced by our community. Some of the reason these events can go on is because we continue to participate and be a part. So when you share a love offering, I know it can seem like, gosh, she gets up every Sunday and she asks for money. What I actually, and that was hard for me for a while, and then I was like, you know what? What I'm desiring to do is to recognize we are a community and to embody the idea of enough from the very consciousness of every one of us in it. And to know there's more in us and in this community than we have any idea, and there isn't a week that goes by that somebody doesn't walk through those doors and say, on my first Sunday here, I learned this and it changed my life. Or 50 years ago, I took a class and somebody taught me this. It happens every week, all the time. So we're going to receive our tithes and our love offerings, and there's a blue card that is in your in the back of a seat. If you don't have an automatic way to give, and we would invite all of you, I don't know where it is, but it's here somewhere. Anyway, that card has all the different ways you can share. Yes, thank you. Oh, we have all kinds of people who know it. I actually finally put in my phone the phone number so I can text to PushPay. But I would just invite you, if you're willing, to be a part of the automatic giving, because that means when we don't have a service or something's going on or you're gone, we have that continued giving. We give with a blessing that says, and I'm going to say it and then we're going to affirm it together, but divine love. Now, divine love is an attribute of spirit within us. They're studying it in the early morning group. They're talking about the power of love in us. We're not just talking about something we hope we get out there. And so when we do this, I'd invite you to breathe it in. So do we have our blessing up? I haven't. Do we have our blessing? I don't know if we do or not. Okay, we are going to do this together. Let's affirm this together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is, and we are all a part of that blessing.
I was a little girl who never spoke her mind. I wouldn't rock the boat, I couldn't cross the line. But every step that I've taken, every pain, every tear has led me to the woman who's standing right here. I got so tired of giving myself away, always looking for someone to tell me I was okay. But I got to the place where I could trust my heart. It was the perfect place for a brand new start. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand. Here I stand. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand. Here I stand. I am a warrior. I am invincible. I am strong as steel. And I am capable. I am soft as a feather, light and free, and the truth that I know, healing begins with me. Oh, and here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand. 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 And with all that I've been through, there ain't nothing I can't do. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand. Here I stand. One more time. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power.
Yay. All right, here I stand in my power, and one of your powers, that power of love, is within you. And my invitation to every one of us is to allow that love to move into the center of this space as every one of our youth walk through, knowing that they are the light, they are the presence, they are the future of humanity, and they are divine love just as they are.
You are the star of the morning. You are heaven smiling at us. You're God's gift of tomorrow. Oh, how we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the star of the morning. You are heaven smiling at us. You're God's gift of tomorrow. Oh, how we love you. Oh, how we love you. You are the star of the morning. You are heaven smiling at us. You're God's gift of tomorrow. Oh, how we love you. Oh, how we love you.
Wow, okay.
All right. Tell them your name first and and then about the story.
Okay.
It's her turn to talk.
My name is Ryan, and today we were drawing pictures of what takes courage.
And what book did we use? The story.
And before that, we read The Lion and the Mouse, and then we talked about how the mouse helped the lion.
Okay, and we all have.
Thank you.
Good job. You have lots of courage.
All right, do we have, there we go. All right.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. So, as you can see, we have a lot of extra teens than we normally do. So, this weekend, all of us, or not all of us, but most of us teens stayed the night for 2 nights, and we did our kids camp counselor training. So we are going to be the counselors for this year's training, or this year's kids camp, which is our 43rd kids camp. The dates for this year's kids camp is June 29th, June 30th? Oh. We go on the 29th. Oh, sorry, June 30th to July 3rd. And yeah, please sign your kids up, sign your grandkids up. What age? It's 7 to 11. And yeah, please sign your kids up. We really would love to have kids, and it's such an amazing experience for us. All of the kids camp counselors went to kids camp, and we all met there, and we're all still really close friends now to this day. So it's a really amazing experience.
And if you have not met Nick Muncie Jarvis, he is here. He is the regional coordinator of the teen camps, so our YOU and our and kids camp. And it's nice to have Hugo and Max here. They're having a lot of fun. Shoes are not up here, so it's good. All right, we are so blessed. We are going to stand and sing "Let There Be Peace on Earth," and let it begin with me.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are
Oh, yes, yes. And we invite you downstairs after the service for Connection Hour. We'd love to just meet you and greet you. If you have any questions about kids camp or you have grandkids that are of that age, you can ask any of our counselors. I know they are alive, alert, and awake and enthusiastic to answer those. And we are going to close with our unity prayer, remembering this for ourselves and every being. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we just say, thank you, Infinite Spirit. We're going to sing our youth out.
I'm gonna move to the light. I'm gonna speak of the light. I'm gonna sing with the light. I'm gonna dance in the light. When I choose to remember that Spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise and shine in the light. I'm gonna move to the light. I'm gonna speak of the light. I'm gonna sing with the light. I'm gonna dance in the light. When I choose to remember that Spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise and shine in the light. When I choose to remember that Spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise and I shine